In this episode of Negative Modifier, we'll be playing the game Delta Green. Delta Green, by design, tackles various mature themes that may be uncomfortable or triggering for listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hey, it's Charlie, Negative Modifier's Game Master. First off, thank you for giving us a listen. As always, expect something horrible to happen to the players. If you're a fan, support us by leaving a review on iTunes. And if you hate the show, consider doing it anyway and enjoying the fact that you've inflicted us on someone else. For the most up-to-date news in the podcast, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And with that,
kill a ghost cabin, or just maybe flood just make it uncool to go try to find this thing.
Kill a ghost cabin. You realize just saying that out loud sounds pretty cool, and you want to just go look for it. Like, just saying ghost cabin alone.
There are two approaches. We solve the issue. I don't know how we would. Or we make them think that they found the source and make it something mundane.
Do you think we could pay off Ashley and Thomas Ridge to say they faked it? That they really just were super embarrassed to have gotten lost on a simple 2-hour hike, that they made up that story?
They've heard about the rumors before around here, so they thought that they'd try to cash in on some quick fame.
Maybe some sort of dossier. We could plant maybe some sort of, I don't know, like shady history behind them. I mean, what's his face? Do you still have his contact information? The weird dude in New York.
No.
You could always go with drugs.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could just swap out their toxicology reports.
Yep. Drugs is usually the easiest way to get people to kind of not believe what you're saying. Just depends on how hard of drugs you want to go. We're talking,
psychedelics is probably enough, especially if they're talking about hallucinations and being exhausted afterwards.
Sounds about right.
Magic mushrooms would do it.
Yeah, combination MDMA or mushrooms.
Whatever's easiest to get up here.
I'd probably say mushrooms. That shit could probably grow anywhere over here. Hard find to see if anybody is selling pills in the bustling environment of Vermont.
Well, yeah, Vermont, yes, but I mean, we're also right next to New York. Wouldn't be hard to drive down to New York and find something.
You are a ways from New York.
I was going to say Albany, New York. I mean, that's like saying that Sacramento is as hopping as Los Angeles.
Okay.
We need to get on the ground and see what's happening first. We could just pose as some of the amateur reporters at first. We don't want to be whipping the badges out right away.
So we're three grown-ass individuals with a TikTok account right on.
Don't know about you two, but I can probably blend in. I'm only 27.
You're not only 27.
Turned 27 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Sorry that you have to be here on your birthday, but happy birthday, I guess.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, after you hit 30, it doesn't really matter, but...
It doesn't matter right now. I just don't want to be here.
Yeah. Well, we can get done with this quick so you can go to Cheesecake Factory or wherever you go to do your birthday thing.
I like to go to Chuck E. Cheese's. Childhood memories, you know.
Yeah, so as you're driving through Vermont, you get to the town of Bennington pretty quickly. And so you notice a couple things when you arrive there. One, on your approach, you do pass a hilariously small airport. The William H. Morris State Airport. It's too small to support anything larger than a prop plane, really. And you arrive in the town of Bennington. It's more of a town than maybe you were anticipating. It has a college attached to it. Driving through, it's a relatively populated area. But more importantly, as you're driving through, you realize that the sidewalks and streets are mildly clogged with a variety of people, all of them with phones out, filming things, lots of people walking and talking at the same time. It's very easy to tell the locals from, well, the influx of people. For every 5 locals, there's probably someone making an ass of themselves, speculating about ghosts or how they're going to bust this case open into some type of camera. More importantly, there are an alarming number of drones flying. Not like military or commercial drones, but like personal camera filming drones. You can see them off in the distance. They're all over the town skyline. This is illegal, but there's just too many of them to deal with. The police are out trying to their best to kind of corral the situation, but it's a mess. It is they're not mincing words. It's just a mess at this point. You're getting a real sense at this point too of exactly why this was suddenly so urgent. There is enough people here that there is something to be found. They will find something.
So this is concerning. When they said that there were eyes everywhere, they really meant eyes everywhere.
Let's try to solve this problem better than the last.
Let's figure out our accommodations first. I am so uncomfortable even just talking out here.
Which one of you is the most nondescript, middle-aged white guy?
I have a fade now, so I think that might be Foxtrot.
You should go retrieve our things from the post office, Foxtrot.
All right. Sounds good then.
Post office you have to locate as well. So that kind of be the first stop. You got to split off and do your own things at this point.
What time of day is it right now?
You got here early, so it's probably like, we'll say 10, 11 o'clock in the morning at the latest. It's still pretty early. Like, you got in really early. You took some overnight flights. It was a lot of ping-ponging around. It was, yeah, it's definitely still the morning.
Okay. So then, yeah, I mean, I guess we can just split off individually for now, just to, well, I mean, besides the post office, what else are we doing right now? What's on the agenda?
We need to get a hotel, and then we need to go question the hikers.
Right? I take it we may not want to, well, how are we questioning the hikers? Are we doing that during the day, or are we going to sneak up on them?
They're at the hospital. It'd be harder at night. They generally don't allow visitors.
I feel like we could probably do a quick badge flash just to ask about that.
Foxtrot, do you think that you could find a way to secure us some weaponry, just in case?
I did bring some stuff with me in my chest over here, so I do have some stuff with me. It's obviously not a lot because, it's a chest. There's only so much I can carry, but we'll have some stuff here.
Better than nothing.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, I'm sure there's... Oh, shit, we really are in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
I mean, we probably could figure out, like, a hunting store, maybe.
I mean, we can get a couple shotguns that way if we wanted to.
I'm wondering how many cell towers overlap this town.
I have a sat phone, so I usually use that.
I'm less wondering about for us, and I'm wondering in case things go really bad and we need to make sure that people can't post anything on the internet.
I'd imagine that would be something about personal, like jamming personal hotspot signals, or because we've kind of evolved past just needing cell towers with this technology, and Faustus just kind of waves and gestures towards like the drones flying everywhere.
Yeah, we would have to. Well, it would be a short fix. It would not be a long-term fix.
Yeah, you'd also have to wipe out internet and stuff like that too. Like, just jamming cell phones won't be enough to shut this down.
Figure out where their power plant is, I guess. Just worst case scenario.
Where's an EMP when you need one? It's a joke, guys. Obviously, we don't have an EMP on us.
They're kind of fictitious.
Yeah.
Let's just, keep our eyes out. Eyes and ears. Let's know what people are saying. All right. Let's do this.
Sounds good.
Can I identify the most common model of drones that are flying around?
It's just a mess. It's a bunch of commercial ones. It's lots of cheap ones. Like, there's, with some investigation, you can kind of glean some more about what the caliber of people here are, but at just kind of a quick glance, they're far enough up. It's maybe there's a couple $1,000 ones, and most of these are kind of quick, cheaply bought ones. Again, you're looking at them just as a distance. There's no way of knowing exactly what you're looking at without being a lot closer.
Cool.
They generally operate in certain frequencies in order to get their, like a radio frequency in order to send information to it, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking if we had that little radio jammer that we had from the previous mission, it could maybe interfere with some of them. Just enough.
We could mess with the drones that way.
I would like to see... So if Foxtrot is getting the dead drop from the U.S. Post Office, is there a park ranger station around here?
No. So this is where things get kind of weird. Vermont handles stuff like search and rescue due to the state police, because it's enough of a thing. It's part of official law enforcement. There's not a ranger station here. It's not a major part of the Appalachian Trail, but there's other stuff around. Your options kind of for local the law enforcement options you can look into are the sheriff's department, the local PD, and the state police.
Gotcha. So Faustus, I think, is going to go to the local. Like, is there like a public library by chance?
There's a couple options actually in that category. You have Bennington Museum. You have the Doll House and Toy Museum of Vermont. You have the Shaftesbury Historical Society Museum. You have the Glastonbury Homestead, which is a kind of living museum that's a recreation of what life was like in the local area back in colonial days.
That's a really good array of choices, and I think I might go study the shit. It was about like 1945 and 1950 that the vanishings happened pretty regularly.
Yeah, those are the rapid fire ones.
Okay. I think my choice is to head to the. You said there was like a small town museum, or just kind of like around the area, or
Bennington Museum, the Dollhouse and Toy Museum of Vermont, the Shaftesbury Historical Society Museum, and the Glastonbury Homestead.
I'm going to Shaftesbury's Historical Society.
All right. I also said, like, before you start diving into exact locations, you could just do some general research about the time. You haven't really had a chance to do any preliminary research into the town of Bennington at all yet.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, that was my kind of go-to. I wanted to start researching into Bennington.
Sure.
Just kind of see, like, if there's any kind of talk about the Bridgewater Homestead in the official channels, how old this town was, when it was established, like, was there any kind of troublesome situations that happened? Is there any kind of occult history behind this town?
All right. Yeah, you can definitely dig into that if you so wish. Probably need to get a hotel room to do that or go find a Starbucks of some kind. I'd probably recommend a little more discretion than a Starbucks. And I'm not sure you want to be sharing Wi-Fi with this many people, hypothetically, but what's the plan?
I think I might use the public library channels and have a VPN for that, because I feel as if the tourists are not going to be hanging out at the public library.
Okay. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So that's Faustus. What are you doing, Florence?
She is going to go get the hotel.
All right.
And then wait for Foxtrot, because we're going to need the badges to go. Actually, she'll get the hotel, and then she'll go, like, scope out the hospital, see, like, what's the deal there.
Makes a lot of sense. Who wants to go first? We got the hospital trip, we've got the UPS office or the USPS office, and we have the library. Who wants to kind of kick their stuff off first?
I'll go first.
All right. Yeah, so you're off to the hospital to speak with Thomas and crew?
Yes.
All right. So you arrive there, and security is tight. Again, you're like, there's a couple of people trying to sneak in. It's people want to interview the most recent victims of the Bridgewater Homestead, as they're calling it. As you're walking by, you see kind of, I may have seen that there's more people. Like, it's not like there's people everywhere, but it's a lot. Like, there's easily kind of 20, 30 people milling about that are obviously there to investigate Bridgewater Homestead in this case. Some of them older, some of them younger, none of them professionals at this. What does the Delta Green agent think, especially one like Florence, think of this? Like, these people are obviously making a fools of themselves as far as she's concerned, probably, but what's going on in her mind watching all of this?
Yeah, I mean, they're making fools of themselves, and she can't help but think, man, if they really found what they wanted to, they'd all die. Make our job easier.
Oh, makes a lot of sense. Because you actually look like an adult and aren't there trying to, you're not kind of wearing any ghost paraphernalia like a bunch of these people are, kind of not screaming influencer of any kind. You managed to get inside the hospital. The woman at the front desk kind of looks at you. Are you actually sick, or are you here to talk to the Ridges?
Here to talk to the Ridges. She will just do a quick flash of her CDC badge and put it away.
Oh, shit, you're actually legit. When you said the Ridges, I thought you were just another one of kind of gestures out the glass door at the rest of the people outside. You know, them. They've been here since 5 a.m. this morning. There was like 4 of them when I came in, and now they're all there. They're just standing there. You work for the CDC. You ever seen something like this before? This is absolutely crazy.
Not people trying to hunt ghosts, but I've seen crowds like this before, yeah.
This isn't even the first time there's been a Bridgewater homestead incident in the last 10 years even. This is like, why the ridges? Why did this one blow up?
I couldn't tell you, but it did. So I'm here. What room?
What are you here to talk to? I need to kind of fill out the forms for you. Why is the CDC here all of a sudden?
Making sure they didn't get exposed to anything.
Yeah, that's the most logical thing I've heard about the ridges all day. I kind of slides you some credentials, like a little clip-on badge that says CDC consultant on it. Yeah, so go down that way. They're in the they're not in the ICU anymore. They got moved. They're fine for the most part. A little distraught, but they keep talking about their friend though. What was his name? They keep going on about him, Matthew or something.
Yeah.
See for yourself.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, she'll go.
This is a very modern hospital. It's pretty well funded. Like given its proximity to a variety of things, it's pretty well done. It's a nice hospital as far as it's not the best hospital you've been to. It's still middle of nowhere, Vermont, to a certain extent. But yeah, it services a pretty large area given its proximity to a variety of things. Yeah, you find the room. There's 2 guards posted outside of it. Appear to be low PD of some kind.
She's just gonna walk in unless they stop her.
They kind of look at you, see the CDC kind of the badge you got for the front, and they kind of nod and let you through. So inside there are 2 people. You assume to be Ashley and Thomas Ridge. They are late 20s, early 30s, as best you can tell looking at them. Athletic, good enough looking couple. They're kind of dressed in hospital gown stuff and just kind of sitting there in the room. They're up. They look tired though. Their faces are drained. There's some bags under their eyes. They haven't slept in a couple weeks. They kind of look at you as you come in. The man, Thomas, looks at you. Who the hell are you?
I'm here to take a look at you. Make sure you're okay.
What? The doctors have been through. There's nothing wrong with us. Have you found Matthew yet?
I don't know. I'm not. That's not my job. She just kind of points to the lanyard she's wearing.
CDC? We're not sick or anything. We just got lost in the woods and.
Well, you got really popular, so we're just making sure.
God damn it.
Just give me a second. I'm going to look at your charts, see if there's anything jumps out at me. Sure, it's just routine. Going to talk to you about what you did out there.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of nice to see a new face that's not the crazies outside or police or medical staff. I'm kind of surprised to let you through. We had a couple people try and rush in here a little while ago, and they got dragged out. Have snapped his fingers a couple times. God, who was it? They kept saying they were from Haunted Wilderness or something. I never even heard of that one before.
Okay, Haunted Wilderness.
They said they're going to expose the truth or something. I don't know.
Crazies being crazy.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah, Florence is gonna look at their charts, see if there's anything weird that she spots about them.
And what's your medicine at again?
55.
That's more than high enough. I'm not going to make you roll for this. Yeah, it's as best you can tell, they are quite healthy. As far as people that were lost in the woods and look the way they do, they're healthy. All their levels are low. They're it's almost like they got lost for a lot longer than they were. They seem drained. Their potassium levels are bad. Their blood work they're fine, but their iron deficiencies are low. Their neural activity reports them of being just unbelievably tired or something like that. Again, they're alive. They're not in any risk of dying all of a sudden. They're just on that cusp of unhealth. They'll recover just fine in probably a couple of weeks or a few days at a minimum, but they're drained. People that survive bad situations, they kind of report the same way. Kind of thing. They're not unwell, but they're not well.
Florence is just gonna ask that they go through some simple tests with her, and she's gonna check their pupil dilation and everything, and then she wants them to describe the fatigue they're feeling and how long they were gone.
Thomas kind of looks at his wife or looks at Ashley and goes you tell it this time. I can't say it another time. So we left Wednesday morning for a morning hike, got the week off from work. We were spending some time together. My brother was in town at Matthew. We all went off for the hike. Left Wednesday morning. Things get foggy. We got kind of up on the trails. I think we did maybe a little bit off the trail or something. I don't quite remember. And the last concrete thing I remember is that we came stumbling out of the woods at nightfall. We had screaming that we couldn't figure out where Matthew was. Not really sure what had happened. They found us. Apparently it was 11 p.m. at night. We weren't sure what's going on. Kind of Ashley chimes in at this point. It's weird. Remember going off into the woods. Remember kind of coming out of the woods, but what's in between is kind of a blur. We both remember being inside of a house at one point, but like a really old house, like they have over at the weird historical town thing that's up on the mountain. But it was like deserted or something. It's hard to remember. That's like the last place both of us simply remember being pretty sure we saw Matthew. Yeah,
Okay.
we got proof he was in town, but no one's seen him since. We just can't remember basically like 14, 15-hour time span.
Do you have a photo of Matthew?
Kind of Thomas busts out his phone, like scrolls a couple of times, like, this is him. It's just a generic looking white guy with a beard, a little younger than Thomas, you'd guess. But yeah, it like looks in perfectly good health, wearing some flannels. Like these are all people that could hypothetically hike quite safely in the woods without fear of something bad happening to them.
Okay. And can you describe the fatigue you're feeling? Does it feel like you're tired, but not sleepy, more physically tired from long exercise, mentally?
Thomas looks at you, kind of scans you up and down. It's like I have leg day over my entire body, if that makes any sense. Like all my muscles hurt. I just feel tired. Like my eyes, they don't burn. They feel kind of dry. I want to fall asleep for like the next week. And when I wake up, I'll be fine. Ashley chimes in. It's like you have allergies, but like under your fingernails almost. Like you're not sick, but you feel off. Like we've been feeling better since we got back here, and kind of like they're both hooked up to an IV machine. Like they've been put us on fluids and stuff like that, and it's been fun. Getting some food in us has been good. Like honestly, we could have just like slept this off at home probably, but they're worried. Honestly, they're worried to send us home given kind of the crazies outside at this point.
Does the kind of fatigue they're describing similar to the fatigue Florence gets when she makes a fuckload of eldershot?
Yeah, that probably feels similar to that. Like again, you would definitely describe it as a draining feeling, and these are like, yeah, they probably like. I guess you want to ask them that, like, it's like you want to say, is this more of a draining feeling?
Yeah.
Almost.
Does it feel like you've been drained? Like, long day of work. Yeah. Okay.
When you put it that way, yeah, it's almost like kind of Thomas like stands there for a second. Yeah, when you put it that way, it's almost like kind of moves his left foot a little bit. It's like someone, it's gonna sound crazy, but it's like someone has a magnet below me right now, and it's like pulling me down into the ground a little bit, but my body's staying there, but like kind of like rubs his stomach. So I'm like, I don't know, like something inside you's been like pulled out a little bit. Like, yeah, I don't feel like my batteries are running low. Like it was just a hike. Like even a full day in the woods shouldn't do this to me. He's like, I feel like I've been like camping for months or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Now can I make an unnatural check to see if Florence has any idea what the fuck he's talking about?
Oh yeah.
Okay. 40 out of 10 failure.
His descriptions definitely kind of line up with what you feel when you do the elder sign stuff, but at the same time, you'd have no way of knowing. You can't like read his brain to know how this feeling feels, but like the descriptions definitely line up with what your personal experience has been. And yeah, that definitely hints to something unnatural. On the chart you saw, like they've been put through psych eval. Like there's notes about like, yeah, we're pretty sure Thomas's brother Matthew is dead, but like he probably just like died out in the woods. They're having a hysterical break with reality or something.
Did they do blood work?
Yeah, they did full blood work on him.
All right, I will probably be back to talk to you later. I'm just going to go consolidate my notes. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Ashley kind of grabs your arm as your way out. If this helps at all, the last really distinct thing I remember was, and this is going to sound absolutely crazy, they keep sending shrinks in to talk to us because of this, a grove of fire. It's like trees all around us just burning, or like it's like a flame color coming off of them or something like that. I know it sounds crazy, but that's like it's so dark. I remember it so distinctly, and then things get muddled.
That's the last thing you remember before everything gets confusing.
It's weird. I remember even all that well. Like I remember even getting there. It's more kind of like the colors. They're so vibrant, sharp.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Happy to help. It's just nice having someone who seems that they maybe believe us. There's not like rolling their eyes at it being the Bridgewater homestead again. We're from the town. We think this is as crazy as the rest of them do, but it's the only explanation we can think of.
I understand. If you want to save yourself some some headache going forward, you might just want to keep mentioning the Bridgewater to a minimum. I mean, don't lie, but you'll avoid the eye rolls and people calling you crazy.
That's the weird part. I remember being in a house and I kind of remember seeing like a door, but I don't remember seeing the big fable is just like this big house out in the woods or something. Like it's the Bridgewater Homestead. Neither of us remember seeing the outside of it. Like that's the weirdest part. Like everyone always talks about coming across this like weird house out in the woods, but we don't remember actually ever seeing one, just like a door or something.
You just went through the door?
Again, it's blurry, but like if we piece it together, there's the fiery grove, there's the inside of this house, and I get like a door or a door frame or something. It's really hard to remember though, too. Like it's all just jumbled and weird, and I like my husband said, like it's all a blur. We only really remember going into the woods and hiking some, and then it being dark and us fumbling around, eventually kind of stumbling out of the woods into town again, and the local PD taking us here. It's
all right.
Yeah.
I appreciate you talking to me. Florence will write down the number of the burner. If you remember anything else, or you start to feel any worse, let me know. I'm in town, and I can get back by pretty quick.
Yeah, sure. If we remember anything, kind of like Thomas and Ashley both look at you. You're from the CDC. Is there something we should be aware of? Like, were we exposed to something? It was like a toxic leak from the ground or something. I've heard of like people breathing in stuff and not remembering things, get some like crazy high, and they like stumble about in the woods for days. Like we've all heard stories about that growing up in these neck of the woods of like people back in the 60s and 70s that would like stumble off cliffs, and that being a whole thing.
There are phenomena that a lot of people chalk up to superstition and other more exciting explanations when things like this happen, or a large number of people die overnight mysteriously. Though once people like myself get down on the ground and we go out and figure out what's going on, we can usually figure out that it's a big CO2 buildup and a volcanic vent somewhere that let off into the river and bathed an entire town in it, and everybody just suffocated in their sleep.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense than anything else anyone's said so far. If you remember anything else, we'll give you a call, I guess, in the nicest way possible. I hope we don't ever see you again.
Yeah, I understand. People generally don't want to be having someone from the CDC visiting them in a hospital bed. Doesn't really bode well.
Hit the nail on the head there, Doc. Yeah, I have Ashley and Thomas both look really kind of tired at this point.
You should get some rest.
Yeah, we're gonna lie down again.
Mint tea helps with the headaches, she says as she walks out.
Okay, try that. Those are the ridges. So does Florence just kind of make a beeline out of the hospital at this point? Does she kind of stop around to ask some questions? Does she maybe stop back at the desk to talk to the front desk lady? What's she doing?
She goes to the front desk lady, and she says that she wants to look at the blood work, or at least get a copy of the blood work for both of them.
Yeah, I can round that up for you. Room around the hospitals, it's totally normal, but kind of like gets a phone up, makes a call, arranges for copies to be given to you. If you can just kind of hang out a few minutes, someone will run that up for you. They seem like such normal people. I was here when they were brought in on the night shift. Something we should be worried about. We don't really get the CDC out here all that frequently, if, well, ever. There was that, like, spill a couple years back. They were worried about the health contamination from, but that turned out to be nothing. That was more of a, what was it? I pause as one of the alphabet things, not DEA.
EPA?
That one, yeah.
I don't think that you have anything to worry about. I'm just here as a formality. Got a lot of news. Need someone to check some boxes. Make sure the government's got their ass covered.
And she kind of gestures out the door. Thank God someone's here checking boxes, because they need to go. Do you understand how many of them keep injuring themselves up in the woods doing dumb stuff? We have 13 people here with completely avoidable broken bones just by slipping in the woods. It's like they've never been hiking before. Who goes hiking in flip-flops?
Idiots.
Agree on that. Yeah, someone eventually comes up with kind of a stack of paperwork, hands them off to you. Like, yeah, it's normal kind of like, they're like, CDC's here, holy shit. Like, okay. Very compliant. They're like, give you a couple numbers to call if you want to follow up on some of the medical stuff. We'll Woman's like, if you need anything else, I'll be here, and then my replacement will come over once my shift's over. Should we be worried? I know you said there's probably nothing to be worried about, but like, you got tricked for making the kind of gestures with the people outside. Them go away?
I think that probably once I'm done here and the real story comes out, they're going to be gone. And I hope to have that done pretty quickly. So,
yeah, God, I hope so. They've overrun all the places to eat in town. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I myself am new in town. Would you mind if I took your number down just in case I have some questions about the town as a whole?
Yeah, sure. I'm not much of a tour guide. Your probably best bet to get some real local flavor would be like the museum or.
It's less about the town's history, and it's going to be more about similar phenomena that these people say that they're experiencing. Because I understand that this happens once in a while.
I hate to say it, but the person you want to talk to about that, and he's a bit of a local character, you want to go talk to Shecky Yoder.
Shecky Yoder.
Yeah, he's a reenactor. He works over at the Glastonbury homestead. He was the blacksmith for a while. Real local history buff, real local town weirdo. He looks like a Shecky Yoder. You'll know him on sight. Last I heard, they had him pretending to be like the town crier over there or something. I don't know. I try and avoid Glastonbury Homestead as best I can.
I will go speak with him. Thank you.
Yeah, don't say hi to me. I don't want Shecky knowing I know who he is.
All right, thanks. She'll leave.
And she kind of waves goodbye. You have to muscle through some people to get out, but they're like, oh, she went in. They talked to people. Yeah, like, a couple people try and like grab you to ask some questions.
She has like taken her visitor pass off before she left too.
But you're still inside. Like, that's farther than any of them have gotten, probably.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask some questions. Like, some cameras kind of get like shoved in your face, but you kind of swat them aside, I assume. Like, this is some real amateur hour stuff. This is all people trying to make it big off this local sort of tragedy, maybe?
Yeah, she's not having any of it.
Yeah. So I'll have to find a hotel and stuff like that now for Florence?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Who's next, Faustus or Foxtrot?
I can go next.
Of the many locations in town that are kind of clogged with investigators, no one cares about the post office. You get in pretty easily. The clerk at the front, the kind of person at the front desk looks at you. Welcome to the post office. Can I help you with anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to check the box here.
You got a box number and a key?
Yeah, hold on, let me check.
You don't have the key. You do have the box number, though.
Okay. What was the box number again?
I didn't give it to you. No need to come up with the number. So, yeah, you kind of just tell them the number. He goes, oh, shit, yeah, something came in for that. They said somebody picking it up. It's a real small box, but kind of like goes to the back. Here's some rustling, comes back with just like a box about the size of a small suitcase. Like it's about 2 feet by 3 feet by like 9 inches deep kind of thing. And just puts it down. It's all wrapped in brown paper. Package has been shipped to you from Mighty Pine Excursions. It's got a bunch of kind of stamps of overnight priority, must get there ASAP and stuff like that. Guy looks at you. Yeah, this came in kind of real hot this morning. They said you'll be by to pick it up. Like it's a small PO box, so it doesn't fit in there, obviously. Yeah, sign here, kind of slide some paperwork over to you. You in some way linked up with the people outside?
No.
Oh, thank God. They don't come in here because, well, we're federal property and that'd be a federal crime to loiter here. But, God, this is terrible. It's not like these even aren't the first people in the last 10 years to die up on the mountain in weird ways or go missing. Like, this stuff happens every couple years or something, feels like.
Well, when something exciting happens, people tend to just kind of lose their minds about it.
Yeah, but, like, that's the weird thing. Like, it's happened before. Like, hell, the 2 people came back. Like, I think it's the Ridges or something. They're both alive. Like, I know the brother's missing, I think, but the other times were way stranger.
How so?
I have scratches his head for a second. Oh, God, what was her name? The Ricci woman. Like, she died in the hospital after getting out. Like, she was stark, right? She was absolutely crazy if I remember the stories going around town, though. Kind of snaps his fingers. Oh, Castros. They were the ones that went missing, like, last fall. think it was around like the start of the fall or something like that. Yeah, both of them just gone. And God, what was the last big one that happened? That Japanese family. I'm blanking on the name. This was like I was still in high school then. Like it was like 10 years back or something, maybe. I don't remember exactly though. It was a huge deal in town. It'd been a big chunk of time since the last missing in the triangle happened, and like it's like, oh no, it's starting all over again. And yeah, big hubbub, but nothing like just like gestures outside again. Nothing like that. Like this is just crazy. I'd never even seen a drone before yesterday, and now I've seen like 100.
Are they all locals or like are they from out of town? Like tourists? Like what's
No one here cares about the Bridgewater homestead. It's just a local legend. It's made up. It's a thing we tell kids to be careful when they go out into the woods and stuff like that. Hell, I grew up in town hearing stories about the Bridgewater homestead. If you get lost in the woods, you'll wind up at the Bridgewater homestead and then you'll die there or whatever. Yeah, it's local legend. Like, it's just bullshit. Everyone came from out of town. Like, it was just like cars and rental stuff just arriving for days like yesterday and stuff like that. Like, it's been just nuts since the story started breaking. And hell, like, no one even knows who broke the story. Like, it's weird.
Well, you know, social media, it's anonymous. Anybody can just put that stuff out there, so.
Yeah, no, man. Wish who's ever pushing this would just stop. They're not going to find anything. There's nothing to find. They'd be better off going to fucking Lostonbury Homestead and be like, oh, we're at the fabled one. And that's only homestead around here at this point.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's interesting. You said you mentioned the Castros. They live around here, or were they from out of town?
Nah, they're all from out of town. It's always tourists that seem to go missing. Again, like, it's the woods. It leans over the counter at you. Not to sound like callous, but like, woods are dangerous. We have people that just get lost out there. Like, this isn't New York City or some other big place. Like, you've been outside. It's just trees for miles. Did you know what you're doing if you fall or something or wander off the trail? Like, fucking Instagram's been the death of people out here. People fall off cliffs occasionally or like stumble over something and break an ankle and then die of exposure. Like, it was the fall. It occasionally gets really cold really quick. Like, we get snap freezes. Like, I'm not sure where you're from, but it occasionally snows here in like the end of September, early October if we're unlucky. Not like a big snow, but like if you got caught out in it and you were wearing like shorts, you could be in some real trouble. Like, you get high enough up in the mountains and hypothermia sets in minutes because of the wind chill factor. And just for the Appalachian Trail, it's a hardcore hiking destination for lots of people.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Most people, I mean, especially if they're tourists, they don't understand really what kind of precautions you're really going to take, especially if you're going out to the woods by yourself or going unprepared or with someone that is used to going out to the woods. Then, and you end up dumbass and you die, and here you are.
Yeah, and it just feeds into stupid local town legend of some fucking cabin out in the woods luring people in and killing them. It's not even a historical record, as far as I know, of there being a fucking Bridgewater homestead. No one lived up there, kind of thing. It's a terrible mountain to live on.
You don't believe any of this shit, right?
Maybe as a kid growing up in like the Boy Scouts or something, we heard stories about it, but like, nah, it's all just local superstition and bullshit and stuff. Like, the monuments probably more haunted than those mountains are. Like, ghosts don't exist. If they did, this town would be fucking full of them.
Yeah. Probably a bunch of the ghosts of all these tourists who fucked up in the first place.
Yeah, the town's been here since like colonial times or something, whatever. That's what someone told me on a school trip once. So like, it's been a while. Like, I don't know. I'm sure we burned a witch here or something because times back then were terrible.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, you got your package. You signed for it. We're good. If you're not part of the investigation crew, what brings you to town?
I like traveling around. I'm just kind of bored, close to retirement. So
you picked a shit time to come to town, man. The leaves when they turn are absolutely beautiful, but right now it's just kind of the end of summer. More months or so before that kicks in, and well, welcome to town. You get to fight a bunch of tourists for a spot to stay on the sidewalk here.
After the divorce, the ex-wife took all the fight out of me. I don't care about him.
Hey, man. Yeah, that's sucks. I'm gonna. I gotta deal with some stuff in the back. Guys get obviously uncomfortable. Like it's like doesn't want to talk about your divorce. Like, oh yeah. I don't know you. That's a personal thing to tell me. Yeah. Cool. Enjoy your package.
Yeah, thanks. I walk out the door.
How's this?
Yes, sir.
You're at the library?
I'm at the library.
All right. Doing some research. So what are you looking into first, I guess?
First and foremost, is there any kind of occult history regarding this town?
This town or Bridgewater Homestead?
Bennington specifically, actually.
Yes. So you've got a couple things you're dealing with at this point. The idea of the Bennington Triangle is a real thing people write about. It's the Bermuda Triangle of the northeast of New England kind of thing. Like, it's weird stuff happens here. Oh, it's centered on this mountain that weird stuff seems to happen on, et cetera, et cetera. You got that going on. The town is an old-ass town. Like, it's been around for several centuries. It's an old colonial town kind of thing, like the point where it has a Bennington Battle Monument. Like, it was a Civil War, not a Civil War town. It was a Revolutionary War town at one point, way the hell back when. So a bunch of stuff exists around that. There's kind of the normal northeastern superstitions, the occasional Bigfoot sighting, Native American stuff in the area, but not a ton of that because it's more kind of farther north. General woodsy stuff, but you did notice as you were driving in that the surrounding area looks a hell of a lot like the Blair Witch Project in some ways. Kind of narrow the search some, I guess. What are you looking for more specifically?
Let's actually dive into, because we're part of the Appalachian Trail, correct?
Yep.
Right on. So I would like to dive more so into using the Bennington Triangle as a anchor point. Is there anything in regards to Appalachian folklore regarding kind of not like a cabin or like a mysterious thing to kind of like stumble into? Because it almost seems very Jack and Jill-ish sort of situation. So if there's any kind of like occult figures that's enticing folks to come into their homestead or their home.
So you find two things actually kind of looking down this path. There is a bunch of kind of trail stories about there being some cursed trading post in the area from way back when, like back before town was settled, back when it was kind of more Canadians coming south to trade with the tribes and like fur trapping and stuff like that. It's very vague in the stories that you find. Again, like they're not well documented. You also find several mentions of something called the Witch Silence, who appears to be a local kind of folklore character of some kind, presumably a witch of some kind that was kind of known for the area.
Cool. I would like to also look into the time frames, or what is the oldest known kind of disappearance or Bennington Triangle mention? If not Bennington Triangle mentioned, like the homestead mentioned as well, the Bridgewater Homestead.
The Bridgewater Homestead, like there's mentions of it going back as far as like records you can find a computer exists kind of thing. Like it's been a local legend for a long time. The last kind of like major set of disappearances you come across are from the kind of 50s and 60s that I mentioned earlier. Like it was a chain like that was the big like last big ones that made it. But again, you do come across kind of numerous stories a year about like another person vanishes in the Bennington Triangle, or like two hikers found frozen to death on top of the mountain and stuff like that. Again, like it's not a super dangerous mountain, but like it goes along with this whole Bennington Triangle thing where like, yeah, weird stuff just seems to happen. And looking at it from kind of a hiker standpoint, it's a conceivably dangerous mountain. This is a big enough mountain if you got kind of caught out on it unaware, something bad could happen. It's big enough you could fall off and just never be found if you took a wrong turn. There's a whole mess of trails you could look into. The trails have changed a couple times. Going down that path's going to be a little too general to find something super useful.
Okay. Then if anything else, like you just said, the paths have changed a couple times. I would like to also collect any information about the actual path, the hiking trail that the Ridges allegedly took, and the history of like whether or not that trail has changed and stuff like that. I would like a trail map.
Trail maps are easy enough to find. you don't necessarily know what trail they took.
Are there any kind of records of history? Are there any kind of records of like old trail maps as well?
Give me a search on that one.
Oh baby, my searcher 27. Let's roll. I fumbled that. Here we go. Here we fucking go.
Yeah, so you find a couple reimaginings of the trails around the mountain, like stuff changes, but like there's not a great database of extensive trail markings that go back all that long. You find a couple like historic trail maps and stuff like that that are kind of reserved for posterity's sake and kind of historical reasons, but nothing that's gonna kind of give you a huge leg up in tracking this down. Like the trails haven't changed really in like 50, 60 years, give or take, kind of thing. Trails don't change that often. Unfortunately, as you're doing this, a couple kind of investigators do kind of take notice that you're investigating stuff, and they kind of like sidle up to you, and one of them kind of gets real close and sticks his hand out and goes, "Hi, you here investigating the Bridgewater homestead as well?"
What I want to investigate is what is up with your personal space issues. Can you take a step back?
Oh, you don't recognize me, do you? I'm Simon Ghostman Kenny.
Holy shit. What are you doing up here? I mean, it's good to see you out, but you're up here researching this.
Yeah, this is a big deal. I mean, you don't know who I am, obviously. Like, I'm a big deal. This is a big deal. Like, the followers demanded I come here and check this one out.
Wait. Simon? Oh, never mind. No, my apologies. I mistook you for a shut-in that I had run into not too long ago during my social work situations. No, I'm just looking around some hiking trails and just kind of going through this area. Who are you?
Kind of looks at you confused, like strikes what he thinks is a signature pose. Like, he's a good enough looking guy, like mid to late 20s, sandy blonde hair, 5'10", 5'11", above average athletic build kind of thing. Looks at you, he's like, "Yep, I'm the ghost man. I go into haunted places and like dare the ghost to come and face me, and they never do. I go around like debunking all these haunted places. And I'm going to debunk this one too."
So it's not because you're pale. Got you. Simon, I have a question. I have a real quick question about you. Real fast. Do you know what's going to happen to you in the afterlife?
Hey man, I'm a hardcore atheist.
You believe in the after? I mean, like, if you're a hardcore atheist and you're ghost hunting, you're searching for something spiritually, correct?
No, I'm here to prove that none of this shit exists. Like, people are stupid and...
No, oh, I see. A skeptic. You know, that's exactly what I went to seminary for, is to just kind of engage into these things and just to kind of debunk just the demonic concepts of what America is turning into today. You see, I am a Catholic priest over in, the West Coast. Can I talk to you for a second? Can I tell you about the good word?
So while you're doing this, Simon starts like waving his hand at his neck real quickly, and you kind of see across the room there's two people with cameras that like put the cameras down. He starts backing away. He's like, that's cool, man. I'm not here for a sermon or anything like that.
I grab his wrist, and it's like, no, I here's the thing. Like, this was a moment that God has put upon me. You sat down next to me looking for spiritual guidance, and this is it. This is your calling. Let me tell you about Jesus Christ.
That's real cool, Jesus, dude. I kind of starts trying to pull him away some. Do you like fight him at all, or just kind of let him go at this point?
I let him go.
And he kind of like scampers off, like the crew rapidly follows him, and you're once again alone. Like the rest of the people kind of go out to follow him.
Work like a charm.
Yeah. All right, so you kind of all done a thing. Do you want to go reconvene at this point back at the hotel, I guess? Like, what's the plan? You haven't actually unpacked the box yet either, so...
Yeah, I was planning on unpacking it with the gang.
Sure.
Since it was portable.
Yeah. The time to convene.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Convening it is.
Yes, you have to go a little bit outside of town to find something, but you do find finally a motel that actually has some openings at it. It's looking at, it's the kind of place that maybe ghost hunters, the fearless ghost hunters of the world, might be a little bit afraid of because, well, it's a real danger to their health potentially. So not a great hotel, but it's kind of one of the many motels that exist along the highways of Vermont and New Hampshire for that matter. It's cheap. They don't ask a lot of questions. You can pay in cash if you so wish. You all stay in one room, you get 3 rooms.
Is there availability for 3 rooms?
Yeah, this is enough out of town that like it's also sketch enough or it's not good enough. Like, imagine this is some real motelness. Like, these are rooms that exit out onto a parking lot. Kind of, there's no second story. It's like, yeah, here's the parking lot. Here are your rooms. There's 5 feet that separates the two.
Separate rooms it is.
Separate rooms, please, and thank you.
Sure. So I'll converge in one of the rooms, though, ultimately.
Yeah, we can converge in mine since I was the one who picked up the box, I guess.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so it's starting to get late in the day. We'll probably say it's closer to like 3 or 4 o'clock. And all the research you've been doing, kind of the stuff you've been up to, and finding a motel room and stuff like that. So you open the box, and it's got some FBI windbreakers inside of it, a collection of, obviously, given the context, probably fake FBI credentials. Yeah, it's enough to make yourselves look like FBI agents need be, and some kind of like hiking boots.
Yeah, they really went all out this one. Are there 3 apiece? Like, there's enough for each of us?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna just kind of casually toss one of the FBI credentials to each of the people there. So I'll toss one to Faustus, and I'll toss one to Florence. Here you go.
Anyone at the hospital asks, I'm consulting with the FBI, just so we have our story straight.
Sounds good.
So I had a little bit of a run-in at the library. Someone got real up close, and I think I was accidentally attempted to be featured in some sort of footage or editing. I kind of handed up on the whole priest bit, so hopefully that's not going to be something that I won't be recognized over, but oh god.
Did they record you?
I think they were attempting to. There were some cameras. I can't remember the guy's name. Skippy? He's Skippy Ghost Man? I don't know.
Oh, if you're planning on keeping a low profile, you need to get rid of that video footage.
Yeah.
That's not going to be something you want seen around.
We just need to make sure it's not an episode.
Yep.
I have a lead on somebody who knows about the goings-on about the Bridgewater homestead. Name is Checky Yoder.
Chunky yogurt?
Sure. And he's over at the Castberry homestead. Or at least to be a blacksmith.
Huh.
One of them recreation types?
How... I don't mean this to sound rude or anything, but, you know, how many, like, all-nighters are you guys used to pulling? You guys stay up for days on end and just keep going, or...?
I mean, I can. If the job calls for it. Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay, because whatever is going on is the 2 hospitalized people, they're same symptoms I get when I make those bullets. A little more different, but close enough.
You mean the magic bullets?
You still need to teach me how to make those, by the way.
It's kind of complicated. Something we'd have to do when we have free time. So, just so you know, just want you to know that that's what we're going into. This is
a confirmed unnatural sort of situation.
If we can't figure out what to do, there are plenty of people dying or getting injured out in the forest that I do not see it as unreasonable that one of them might accidentally start a wildfire. I don't know how wet it is out here, but
that's actually going to be quite hard. Like, this is some wet terrain. Like, it stays green all summer up here, typically.
Scratch that.
I mean, we could probably set up another terrorist event.
Is that our calling card now?
Oh my god,
This feels really cheap that every time we just, it's a terrorist attack. I mean,
well,
it works. It just kind of
it's
feels
America,
cheap.
so it definitely works. We'll feel it out, but we should go see Checky Yoder.
I mean, like, I just for clarification, that was kind of a joke. I really don't want to have to gas an entire small village. So there's Checky Yoder. There's also, as I was looking through the library before I was rudely interrupted, I found something about in Appalachian folklore about the witch silence. It's like a witch area sort of situation that was kind of recorded in these kind of folk tales. Locally, there's also a cursed trading post before the town was settled. It's not super well documented, but that's also something that was of local legend. I'm pretty sure we could probably ask Checky Yoder. That's his real. Is it an alias or is that his real name?
I have no fucking clue.
All right. Well, Checky Yoder can tell us about this cursed trading post, I guess.
All right. Good. I seem to have the two hikers convinced that what they experienced was probably some natural phenomena, so that they inhaled some weird gas or something. I don't know how long that'll hold up, but we've got time before they probably go spouting it off again.
I mean, we're not going to release some sort of weird gas, correct?
No, nature's scary sometimes in the fact that it might just decide one day that everybody in this town is gonna die because the CO2 buildup under the lake that nobody knew about finally gets released and, well, you can't breathe. It's a real instance of it. I can link it to you at some point if you want to read about it. There were only 3 survivors, and it was because they weren't asleep. The gas was so dense that anyone who was standing up didn't realize anything wrong was happening, and everyone else was asleep and suffocated.
You know, speaking of which, there isn't any kind of natural gas line that we could kind of point to here that was like, oh, natural gas leak, people fainting and hallucinating vividly for hours on end until they recover.
Not sure.
Can we blame it on that?
That's something you could do, sure.
Cool.
I also have a feeling that we're going to be going up into the mountains, so we should buy hiking gear, survival equipment.
Well, this is, I mean, I didn't want to have to deal with this again, but you know what? Navy SEAL training, I can pretty decent at that. What about you, Foxtrot? You gonna be good?
Yeah, I'll make do. But we should definitely bundle up. It gets cold up here.
I have been camping a grand total of once, and that was with my father when I was 5. I'm not really an outdoorsy person, so
Yeah, we'll get you some gear. A couple layers.
appreciate it.
Insoles, and you're gonna want extra socks.
Oh yeah, socks are definitely a big thing. But socks are horrible.
Don't let your socks get wet, because otherwise you will have the worst week ever.
I trust you guys. And be ready to get lost up there because I imagine that we're going to. Feels like you kind of have to get lost to find this place.
Well, did they say, I have a little trail map. Did they say, like, where they started to get lost? Or, like, did they tell you what trail they took?
Yeah, the last thing they remember seeing before everything goes blurry was seeing an entire grove on fire.
Grove on fire.
On fire.
Is the grove on fire kind of harken back to whatever a witch's silence or witch's... Do you say silence or seance?
Silence.
A witch's silence. Is that anything that kind of clicks because of what I had studied or looked up in the library?
Nah, that didn't pop up in that context, no.
Okay.
Question, now that we've all consolidated our information, is there anything that would, like, come to mind with my unnatural skill?
Not anything yet. Like,
Okay.
witches are just another version of wizards as far as you'd be concerned. There's no proof that the Salem witch trials were indeed a Delta Green type of thing, but also some of that totally could have been kind of thing in this context. You would probably know, just kind of based off exposure to Delta Green, the organization, that the olden times used to be a bit stranger, definitely. Like, probably there's some ramblings in the book you've been flipping through. Like, you're kind of looking at this off like the historical context of, like, maybe there weren't a ton of witches in town, but like if there's a persisting witch legend, that might be a thing worth looking into. We're getting more of the story on that potentially. The Bermuda Triangle is not a real thing, but also through the kind of the lens of Delta Green, Bermuda Triangle might indeed be a real thing.
Yeah.
Weird stuff happens, and it's not just like, oh, weird stuff happens. It's like, no, weird stuff happens because unnatural stuff is behind it all the time. The last operation you went on involved cannibals that were eating people to extend their lives kind of artificially through a ritual. Anything's possible after that on paper kind of thing.
Yep. I gotcha. Well, why don't we swing by the store and then we'll head over to Checky Yoder.
Sounds like a plan. What time of day is it right now?
It's getting on the day. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock at this point. It's a little bit late in the day. The museum will still be open, though, probably.
Okay. Then yeah, let's head on over there before it gets too late.
What does Chucky Yoder do again? He's a blacksmith, you say?
He's a reenactor.
Reenactor, okay. All right. Let's head to the hunting store, I would imagine, or just kind of the outdoor store?
So I guess what's the order of operation? You got to kind of go gear up first and then go to the Glastonbury homestead, or Glastonbury homestead first and then go gear up?
Gear up first.
Yeah, because I don't super think that we would need to, what's it called? Be headed out anywhere with the homestead, but weirder shit has happened.
The Glastonbury Homestead, it's a museum. It's on the outskirts of town. Like, you can just drive up to it. It's not a full hike or anything like that. It's
Okay.
I guess, like, let's go into this thing for a second. Do people know what a living museum is?
Yes. I had an 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip. Yes.
Yeah, so let's cover this, I guess. So the idea of a living museum is basically it's someone takes the time and effort to recreate a kind of like a slice of life from a certain time period. Plymouth Plantation, the most famous one is Colonial Williamsburg and stuff like that. They have people there that act out the kind of day-to-day life of that, and it's just kind of on a perpetual loop of that stuff. They're big in the Northeast for kind of obvious reasons, given all the history happened here in a very small area kind of thing. So they're quite common. The people that work for them range from kind of like Ben Franklin impersonators. Like, there's a whole guild of these people, and this is all stuff you could research, and I'm not going to make you go through the whole process of that. But yeah, looking up the Glastonbury Museum will kind of reveal all of this stuff. It's a mix of like historically inaccurate, eye-rolly, and does not age super well as time ticks on, because it's like, yeah, let's have this whole colonial period thing, but not really keep the history up as it unfolds over time. But yes, they have one of those in town.
When you said Iroli, I was thinking like, oh, welcome to New York's first and only Confederate museum.
Kind of, but not quite that bad, but also not much better.
Woo, buckle up. All right, let's go.
I guess some kind of historical context. Native American tribes that do remain in the Northeast are not big fans of any of these, for very legitimate reasons.
Understandable.
Yeah. But so I go back to my question. It's camping store first and then the museum, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. So there's a bunch of outdoor supply stores. You get what you need. Doing the old Florence cash withdrawal thing.
Yep.
All right. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. What are you looking for? Like survival gear, med kits, emergency rations? What are you stocking up on for these purposes? Just like some good outdoor coats you can go hiking in? Like, where are you going with all this stuff?
Hiking, camping equipment, food, water.
Yeah.
I mean, shotguns if they sell them. That's like the stuff that I can think of. Compass, maps.
I think Vermont has a waiting period for guns, so you're not going to be able to buy anything easily.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up some survival equipment. And does the store have any kind of weird little knickknacks, almost like little traveling charms? You know how they have like touristy things there where it's like, oh, hey, here's a little bear bell, that sort of shit?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Cool. I was just going to start dipping into that little area where it's just like, oh, this is for good luck on hikes or some shit like that. He's going to get one of the little tokens for himself.
All right.
Well, I mean, I'll make sure we get some appropriate layers for Florence, since she's not really used to going out there. So I'll recommend some stuff and all that. And I will pick up a hunting knife just to have one out there. What else? Obviously, good weapons have a waiting period. So yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be it then. Not much else, since I really can't pick up too many weapons. I have some stuff in the chest, so it's limited, but we'll have something.
Yeah.
Should we prepare for an overnight stay just in case? Or do we want to keep it light?
We should probably pack heavy. Just in case.
Gotcha.
All right, so while you're doing all of this, the store owner looks at you. Going camping or going ghost hunting?
Camping. You know, just checking out the area. Camping.
It's nice to see someone doing a normal thing. It's been great for business, but everyone coming through has been asking me about ghost stories. Have I ever seen the Bridgewater homestead? And they're just gonna get themselves killed up there. Keeping the EMTs busy though. I'm counting the days we have to send stadies off on a whole manhunt through the woods. That'll be great for local tourism.
Oh, so I stopped by not too long ago over to the Historical Society Museum, and I picked up this like little trail map. Is there a trail that you would recommend? Like, is there one of those that like, hey, don't go here because this is going to be the worst hike in the world, or go here because this is going to be like the most scenic view? Like, which one do you say would be the best option?
Depends what you're looking for. There's a couple day hike. Nothing too adventurous, I guess. You guys bought a bunch of camping equipment, so I'm guessing you want to go actually camping out there. There's some longer trails you can do. You can jump onto a chunk of the Appalachian Trail from here. You got options, I guess. Like, you're looking for scenery, you're looking for kind of a roughing it experience, kind of looks at Florence, although I'm not sure roughing it's maybe what you want to do necessarily.
Well, I mean, this is her first hike, and I don't want to over tax any of our party.
Well, if that's the case, you're not going to need all the camping gear for this. Kind of points at one of the trails on a map. This one here is a nice kind of leisurely flat ground hike. Kind of goes out and around and loops back on itself eventually. Real popular with the kids and stuff like that. Lots of pretty stuff. School trips use it a bunch for kind of their nature day things. One of the more popular trails out here just for kind of a quick out into the woods.
Now, every so often I do kind of do some plein air painting or maybe some sketches and things like that. One of my just little obsessions are tree groves. Just, are there any trails with just kind of like trees that just kind of overarch or anything else like that?
Well, you're here at the wrong time of year for anything really spectacular on that. You're here in the fall. Like, that's honestly when most of our kind of big leafing stuff comes through. Kind of pauses for a second. It's like, it's just absolutely beautiful. All the reds, the oranges, and the yellows, with all the kind of trees going. You'd swear the hills were on fire. It's so vibrant occasionally. Just like, it's all types of reds, and it's just beautiful. It's the reason I stay in town at this point. I could have retired years ago, but Southern Keys here. It's just kind of nice getting down there and walking around in that. It's beautiful.
Right on, right on. When does that usually happen? Like what? Like, I mean, it's August, so I'd imagine it.
Not for a few more months. It's going to start getting real cold for that to happen. Kind of looks at you. You're not from around here, are you?
West Coast, yeah.
You guys don't even have seasons out there. So in places that actually have seasons, when fall happens, the leaves start to change color. It's because of the kind of, I think it's the sap running down to the roots for long winter storage and stuff. Like the reverse, which makes maple sugar in the spring. But so basically all the leaves start to star and they change colors. Depending on the tree, they kind of change a variety of colors. Maples make the most beautiful colors. You got sugar maples, you got swamp maples. They're just big, powerful, popping, beautiful, big reds, big oranges. Real pretty trees too. They're often kind of growing. Because people used to cultivate them because of the whole maple sugar stuff. These kind of cultivate them in little like small farms.
Well, I might have to see you in the fall again. I mean, I thought it was going to be a little bit of a peaceful little getaway from the city, but didn't realize that this would be an entire Instagram town at the being. But which hike is that? I want to make some future plans.
There's a bunch of them. I don't know which trail it is, but there's this real nice patch of fire maple. You can see it from the road, kind of up on top of one of the hills. It's kind of hard to find though. It's not on any of the given trails, but it's like the whole patch of that. It's like fire maples are the best. They're this real kind of bold, like lipstick red tree foliage of some kind. It's kind of crazy though too. Like the tips get red. It kind of fades from red to yellow, so it kind of goes more towards insides of the leaf. It's absolutely stunning. Like I have gestures outside again. All these assholes are here at the wrong time of year. If you're gonna go ghost hunting in the woods, at least come when it's pretty and not gross out from all the mugginess.
Well, thank you. This has been really informative. Hey, y'all hear that? We're going to have to come back here in the fall. There's some fire maples with some really bright, intense colors.
Okay. Sounds good, I guess.
Sure. Did he mark it on the map as to where that spot was?
He doesn't know. Anything else you want to talk about? He's kind of giving you some lay of the land stuff, some local tourist insight, if you will.
Any kind of animals that we need to watch out for?
Occasional black bear, not much. Maybe the occasional wolf or coyote up there or something. This is the Northeast. We're not the Midwest.
Bears aren't the ones that are outwardly aggressive, right? Those are grizzly.
Yeah, those are the famous ones. Those are more of a West Coasty thing. Don't get me wrong. A black bear will mess you up if it's hungry and scared or whatever, but they're kind of... Hold on a second. It's phone I type something into. It's a video of a black bear falling off a tree onto a trampoline. They're kind of goofy idiots in the forest. They're mostly harmless, but they are bears.
Like a tin can and a handful of nickels, and that's good. We'll be good with that.
You've been in the woods before then. Yeah, bears avoid you. As long as bears know you're there, they're going to try and steer clear of you. They're not really interested in humans, what we're up to. Like, don't go leaving no picnic baskets for them to find on you, but yeah, they're pretty harmless.
Faustus makes a courtesy chuckle.
Well, all right, I guess I'll ring up your purchases here. Buy a lot of gear. Most people kind of come here with their own stuff, but yeah, I get it. Kind of get here, see the natural beauty of it.
Or the airport loses your luggage.
I've been there once or twice. Where'd you fly in from anyway? I had to have driven here. No exact local airport you can fly into. You You want to lie or you want to be truthful?
That's what I'm trying to gauge the vibe of the group. I kind of glance over to them. Is this a detail that would be detrimental, or is this a detail that's just like, whatever?
You probably want to lie.
We flew in from Florida.
Oh no, like what airport did we touch down on that we got here in Bennington? Like, did we talk about touching down in Albany or?
Tell them it was like Keene or something.
We also landed in Boston.
Yeah, Boston.
Hmm.
We want to somewhere we didn't land. That way, if they're trying to investigate the three weird people, they don't ask this guy, and he says, "Oh, they flew in from Albany," so they start looking at Albany.
Just tell them, we came in, we landed in Boston, and just kind of enjoyed the drive through New Hampshire into Vermont.
It is a nice drive, yeah. Well, welcome, our tourism board dollars. Appreciate you being here, and not having a camera shoved in everyone's face. If one more person comes in here asking me about the goddamn Bridgewater homestead, I might just close the store till this all blows over.
Why? Has it been that bad?
Don't get me wrong. I like selling equipment to people that are going to use that equipment once and then give it to Lost and Found so I can go buy it again, or they're going to come back here and try and sell it to me so I can sell it used or something. It's not bad for business, but someone's going to get hurt. I don't mean like the idiots that keep falling off and breaking legs and stuff. Like, experienced hikers mess up in the mountains all the time, and none of these people are experienced hikers. Someone's going to die, and it's going to feed into that. We're going to get more people in town. Like, we're a smallish town. We're not designed to kind of handle all kind of waves his arm around this. Like, we have one coffee shop. It's full right now.
Well, what do you think would make them go away?
I don't know. Someone finds something, or I assume they'll go away eventually if no one finds anything. Like, you can only pretend to look for something so long. Like, between you and me, they're investigating strategies to walk up to random people and ask if they know about the Bridgewater homestead, and when they don't know anything, they kind of like scoff and move on. Like, how long can you keep that up before people get bored and move on?
I mean, not really sure. I mean, I can see why it gets annoying.
I'm surprised that this hasn't happened before.
That's the weirdest part. Like, this is even the weirdest instance of, I heard like a third person's missing, like a brother or something, but like, as far as we know, they came back. Like, normally it's like one person doesn't come back or something. Just like both people go missing. I don't know. Again, this is not the first time or probably the last time this will happen. It's just something about this time made it go big. I don't know.
I mean, do you know who broke the story, or?
That's the weird part. Like, we try and keep this stuff under wraps because we think it's bad for the town's image, but this one got out there. We're not even sure who talked about it. Like, it started showing up online, like that bird site and that
a bird site? Oh, Twitter. Okay, that's what you meant.
A bunch of blogs were covering it. Like, it's all kind of something started showing up all at once and doing the ghost hunting thing. I've had Haunted Wilderness come through here asking a bunch of questions. I had some ghost guy come through and insist I knew who he was. It's just been a real mess.
Well, if anything, I hope you're upcharging like by an extra 50% or whatever have you. But hey, man, make your coin.
I shrugs at this. Yeah, I do all right now, but I should let you go. I'm chewing your ear off. It's just nice to talk to someone that's not crazy or obsessed with the tourists, or how the tourists are obsessed with the ghosts.
Well, you have a good one, man. We'll be off.
Yeah, you too. Safe travels. Good hiking.
Thanks a lot.
Bell dings as you walk outside. It's not a ton more people, but like, it definitely does feel there's been a slow, steady stream of people coming to this town since you got here, kind of thing. Like, you're not recognizing faces necessarily, but there are a lot of people here looking for something that probably doesn't exist.
How good is my cell service?
It's fine. It's spotty. This is a college town. It's got decent cell service. Are you more asking, is the volume of people messing with cell service at this point, or more like, do you have cell service, period?
If I have cell service, period. Part of me wants to start. I want to start researching just kind of like the Bridgewater homestead story as we're on our way to the other homestead, just to see like what the exacts are, or like who broke the story, or who's talking about it. If there's any kind of major names that's like coming out to me or whatever.
You all kind of doing the same thing as you're going there. Like, I'm assuming one of you's driving, so one of you has to drive and two you can search. How are you handling this?
I'm gonna drive Foxtrot.
I'm just Googling stuff on my phone.
I'll drive, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, could you?
Yeah, sure.
Also, just a thought. There's a Bridgewater, Virginia. It's far, but not too far. And these people believe that there's some weird Bridgewater homestead out here. If we could get Pine to circulate some kind of, even on some like shitty backwater message boards, rumors about that and backdate them long, long ago, we might be able to redirect people out into the woods there and just say, I don't know, it's some mystical portal or something. Probably eat that shit right up.
Don't you have that guy? Did you get his number or did you just give him your number? The one that was stuck in his room in New York.
I do have his number. I don't know how he's doing.
I mean, he's still a contact. You think you could just kind of text him and be like, hey, do you know very much about the Bridgewater homestead? Or actually just look on his blog to see if he has anything talking about it.
Yeah.
Don't want to alert him to what we're doing right now.
But what do you think about that? There's a forest nearby Bridgewater, Virginia. It's called the George Washington and Jefferson National Forest. Bridgewater is a small incorporated town. A lot of people live there, just like this one. Kind of lines up like, not super wilderness, but I mean, if people are just coming out here because people post on message boards about finding some weird thing in the forest, I don't know.
I mean, he has his connections with those message boards, I would imagine, already. Maybe we can convince him to drop that story and kind of redirect everyone. I don't know. It just seems kind of suspicious if someone just kind of creates an account and their first thing is like, hey, y'all are wrong. It's actually over here.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually having people go back and backdate old message boards. Go find ones that have been offline, go in, get admin control, change the website around, edit all the posts, change them to be what you want them to be. Make it look like people had been talking about it.
Is that something you can do? Because I just learned how to program my universal remote control for my apartment. So
I could probably do it. It would take me a long time. That's why I want to see if Pine can do it. But I can reach out to Sentry Danny. I'll reach out. I'll buy. I'm gonna need to buy another burner though.
I could use my phone for the time being, at least.
Sure. Florence will text Sentry Danny and ask if he can talk.
All right. You gotta try and call him, or just like trying to get a hold of him? Period.
It's just gonna be a text for now, just to see if he responds.
Let that play out. He's not gonna respond immediately, but yeah, not a bad plan so far.